I like that one. I do.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, BC.
Okay.
BC is the slum lord of the BC coast.
Oh, I seriously
Yeah,
like that.
and that's so true, because they've leased out the feedlot. They've leased out the ocean, strips of the ocean, to foreign Norwegian-owned feedlot operations. And those open net feedlot operations actually destroy the marine environment, the marine habitat, and they threaten the very existence of our salmon, our wild salmon that have to swim past them. Why? Because this is because they release not only tons and tons of species that settle down to the bottom and create dead zones on the ocean floor, but they also release deadly diseases like ISA virus, like Kodoa, which kind of turns their Atlantic fish into mush, and so they're forever feeding them or giving them chemicals, inoculations, vaccines to try and combat all those diseases. But they're losing a battle. They're losing a battle to do this. And the more they apply these vaccines, the stronger those viruses become, because they mutate and they grow in resistance to vaccines. Just very much like the superbug that is plaguing human beings. So, astonishingly, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency went and approved that the fish, Atlantic salmon grown on the East Coast, can go to market because they claim that it is safe for humans to eat. Can you imagine that? Safe for humans to eat. That may be true right now, but it may not be true forever. And they have chosen not to label the fish because they claim that it doesn't harm people when they eat fish. But think of the ethics of it. They grow these fish, they know that they're going to contract a lethal disease, and before they really break out into the disease fully, they kill them and make sure they go to market for humans to eat. Now, how sick is that? That is sick. That is disgusting. And Canadians should not tolerate this anymore. So we're going to continue with this boycott, and the more we do this, the less demand there is going to be for feedlot salmon, right? And when there's less demand, what happens? The business loses. And when their shareholders start losing, what happens? Their business becomes unsustainable. And when their business is unsustainable, they have to shut it down. So the only power that we seem to have is this boycott. Because the federal and the provincial governments have given up. There's no champion, you know, at the federal or provincial level. And that's what Chris Gadsden was saying. We need a champion of the wild salmon, protect wild salmon and the ocean habitat. The EFO is not doing it. The province is not doing it. And now we have an election before us, right? And Adrian Dix and many others have said that the Cohen Commission, when it came out, it is a true game changer. And many of the recommendations related to the danger that feedlot salmon operations pose to wild salmon are directed to the federal government. Because the federal government has responsibility for fisheries and ocean habitat. While that may be true, my dear ones, it is the province that holds the trump card in this whole mess, because it is the province that has the jurisdiction and authority to approve or disapprove the leases that are awarded to the Norwegian feedlot operations. If the province decided to use that power to revoke the licenses and have those feedlot operations removed from the ocean, we wouldn't have this problem anymore. Okay? So now we have an election. And we know that the Liberal government is not a champion. They've proven that they are the champion of only the feedlot operations. They've given up. It's as if they don't want wild salmon anymore, because they're killing our wild salmon with these viruses, and they're very dangerous. So when it comes to the election time, my dear ones, let's put it to them. We need a champion for wild salmon. Tell every political party that's running for office that we want an elected party that will champion wild salmon and not the feedlot industry. The only way that we're going to get rid of the feedlots is to pressure the provincial government to revoke those licenses. Only then will perhaps the Norwegians start thinking seriously about moving feedlots onto land into containment, where they can have a safe barrier between their operations and wild salmon. And at the same time, they can expand their business by using the refuse, the feces, as manure to grow vegetables. And so this would mean an expansion of economic development, and it would help preserve. It will help preserve wild salmon. Now we all know that there are many stresses on wild salmon. The feedlot industry is not the only threat to wild salmon, but it is one of the most menacing threats. And it's man-made, and it can be removed. And that's what has to be done. The other threats, whether it's global warming, whether it's the threat of oil tankers on the west coast that is being planned with Kinder Morgan and the federal government, those we must tackle as well. But this is a more immediate threat, because we can't fool around with these little viruses. Those are mean little things, and they can destroy. When we say that they can bring them to extinction, our wild salmon, That's forever. That's what Bruce Cohen meant when he said that they can pose an irreversible harm to wild salmon extinction. We don't want that. If wild salmon go, my dear ones, this will have a horrible, devastating impact on biodiversity in British Columbia. Not only along the coast, the BC coast, but also up all the river sheds, because wild salmon feed the bears, the wolves, and the eagles. The fish farmers don't. So it's in our own best interest. One of the other things that needs to be pointed out is that the BC Farmers Association brags, they say that they create 6,000 some jobs and some spin-offs that go with it. But we now have information from BC Statistics that indicate that they only have 1,700 jobs. Now that's a big difference. But if you look at the sports industry, the sports industry alone has 8,400 jobs attached to it. The sports fishing industry stands to lose those jobs if they allow these feedlots to continue and have those diseases released into BC waters and threaten the very existence of salmon, wild salmon. Now, if we can picture that day when we wake up and it's announced that wild salmon is no more, that will be one sad day. And who is going to be accountable for that? The federal and the provincial governments are going to be the ones who are going to be held responsible for that. That's the Harper government, and now we have the Christie government. We have an election coming up. Let's put it to at least at the provincial level, that the province can make the big difference in here. A political party that will champion wild salmon is what's needed. So let's bring this to the election across BC and make it a hot button political issue. And ask each and every one of them, are you willing to be a champion for wild salmon or not? Are you willing to revoke those feedlot licenses or not? And we'll see which party best is able to stand up and say, yes, we want to protect wild salmon. So we're going to continue with this boycott. We're going to intensify it as we go along. We're going to go back to the superstore. We're going to go to Walmart. We're going to go back to Walmart. And we're going to continue to liaise and talk with all their uplines and continue to ask them whether or not they're going to remove feedlot salmon from the shelves. And that's why we're here today at Safeway, to make sure that we send that message to them that we're not going to quit until we see those Atlantic farm salmon removed from their shelves. Oh, okay, we're going to sing the salmon song. Honor our salmon here.